Grant Robertson.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. They say that what goes around comes around in this place, and I believe long ago I may well be the person who's responsible for this piece of legislation finding its way to being written up, and Meka Whaitiri took it on and has better luck than I do in terms of the members' ballot and had the bill drawn, and I think that's fantastic for Meka and good for the House to be debating this legislation right now. I just want to start with responding to Joanne Hayes' comment that the introduction of the words protects, maintains and enhances New Zealand's environment to the objectives of the Environmental Protection Authority would be, quote, difficult and confusing. A little hard to believe, Mr Speaker, that actually mentioning the importance of protecting, maintaining and enhancing the environment would create enormous confusion among people working on something called the Environmental Protection Authority. That is a silly argument, Mr Speaker, and is not actually what this is about whatsoever. It is a very, very simple bill, Mr Speaker. It's a bill that tries to do something that I think the National Party have always had a problem with when it came to the creation of this agency. Everything about the legislation, when you read it, is minimalist. It's as little as they can get away with, Mr Speaker, in terms of protecting the environment. So when you look at Clause 12, which is what's substantively been amended by this bill in the Environment Protection Authority Act, the objective of the EPA is to undertake its functions in a way that contributes to the efficient, effective and transparent management of New Zealand's environment. That's not very ambitious. The party that was ambitious for New Zealand, the Blue-Greens, Nick Smith's little faction within the National Party, would have been beavering away on the creation of the Environmental Protection Authority, and they celebrated their victory, Mr Speaker, with the idea that the EPA would contribute to the efficient, effective and transparent management of New Zealand's environment. And then it also goes on to say that it will enable New Zealand to meet its international obligations. Well, there's some interesting things we could talk about there. So it's minimalist. It's as little as the National Party could be seen to do to have some kind of agency whose job it was to, I don't know, protect, maintain and enhance New Zealand's environment. And that's what this bill, Meka Whaitiri, has brought before this House, tries to do, Mr Speaker, is lift the sights of the national government. Pick up and say, Nick Smith could have done better than just considering the effects on the environment. He could have a piece of legislation and an authority whose job it is to actually get out there and promote New Zealand's environment, protect, enhance it, be ambitious for the place of the environment in our wider society. But no, the National Party's turning down that opportunity today because what they want, Mr Speaker, is an agency that doesn't have that ambition of protecting and enhancing an environment. And I think that's sad because as a rule, Mr Speaker, I believe New Zealanders want that from their government. If there's one thing New Zealanders are proud of, it is their attachment to our environment, be that in its broader sense of just being out in the environment, tramping or being in the conservation estate, all the way through to how we stand up for ourselves in the world, our clean green image, the thing that drives so much of our economy. All of that is about the environment. New Zealanders fundamentally want to be proud of our environment and want to see it protected, maintained and enhanced. And the opportunity is there today for members in this House to insert a simple clause into the objectives of the EPA to help add to that whole picture of how New Zealanders see themselves, how we can be proud of ourselves here in New Zealand and around the world. I have 1 minute to go, Mr Speaker tells me, and I'll speak now in this minute about a court case, and that won't give them much time to make me sit down about that, but I will do it within the rules. Right now, in the High Court, there's a consideration of the EPA Board of Inquiry decision about the Basin Reserve flyover. And the very thing that NZTA is arguing today is that the environmental impact of that flyover shouldn't be the primary consideration. The very thing that they are arguing today. This legislation would give certainty to the fact that the importance of protecting, maintaining and enhancing the New Zealand environment should be one of the objectives of the EPA. It should be supported.
Mr Speaker.